What is up, everybody? My name is Hector Flores, host of the Insert Name FC podcast, a member of the Belly Up Sports and Media Network. You can find us on all things podcasting, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast fix. You will find us there at Insert Name FC. Pretty straightforward. You can also watch the full video version of this podcast on Belly Up's YouTube channel. So just go to YouTube, search Belly Up Sports, and you will find the full video version of this podcast on there. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. We actually break these episodes down into shorter videos. They're a little bit more digestible that way. Didn't do it for last week. It's just because just busy. I'm gonna try to have some for this one, but can't. Don't hold me to it. Essentially. But yeah, this episode is. Follow us on social media. I don't know why. I'm just dumb. Follow us on social media on Instagram, X, Facebook, at Insert Name FC. Once again, pretty straightforward. But all right, yeah, this episode, man. Obviously, getting back into the groove of these things. This one's gonna be. There's gonna definitely be some talks of race. So just a heads up, just so you guys already know. In case you guys are. It's going to be a conversation about it. Obviously, with what happened with Vinícius Jr., we're going to go ahead and talk about it. But yeah, it's not just that, though. We're going to talk about something that happened in the Inter Miami LAFC match. We'll go more into depth into that one. Mauricio Pochettino, we're going to talk about him in this episode as well. And, of course, the incident that happened with Vinny Jr. and what could lead past couple of days with this. Obviously, of course, players of the week. Give you guys our players of the week. And I'll give you guys some games to watch this weekend. Some really big ones to talk about as well. And, of course, end this episode with another card segment from our good friends at Give and Go. Give and Go. It is every card tells a story. What's yours? Give and Go is the ultimate soccer card game packed with trivia, challenges, and conversation starters that brings fans together. With a 3-game changing categories, is designed to get everyone talking, laughing, reliving their favorite football moments on the couch, at the pub, or wherever game takes you. So, yes, wherever you go, give and go. Not sponsored by Belly Up Sports, by the way, but yeah. So make sure you guys check them out, man. GiveAndGoGames.com, where you can go ahead and buy that. It's a fun game, man. Honestly, before we get into this episode, so I did a live stream with Goals TV. We were watching. The main thing was to watch the Dynamo Chicago Fire game, which ended in a great 2-1 victory for me. Even though this was going to be a hate watch for me, and the reason why is because of the Griffin Dorsey trade that the Dynamo did 3 days before match day. If you guys aren't fully aware, Griffin Dorsey is a guy that a great player, I think, for Houston Dynamo. The guy at the point of his career, you're talking about like the dark days of the Houston Dynamo, right? When the Dynamo was just god awful, and like the locker, all the things about the locker room being toxic and all those things. Well, Griffin Dorsey comes into that situation. He goes into the club during that during all that turmoil. Originally a winger. He then goes to Houston because, when you're a player that's not necessarily getting great opportunities, doesn't necessarily mean you're going to go to a good, a great situation. So he went in to the Houston Dynamo. Once again, he's a winger, but he sees an opportunity in the right back position that he can go in and make it his own, and he did. He made it himself, became a starter for the team, became a fan favorite of the team. And so when the announcement that the Houston Dynamo have traded Griffin Dorsey to Orlando City for $1 million in GAM, which, you know what? Yeah, probably a great deal in all aspects, but it's a fan favorite. It's one of those tough things for me. I think if he would have stayed a little bit longer with the Houston Dynamo, he could honestly have been the captain of the team, just because of how hard working he is. And it's fun story. When I still used to work for the Dynamo, I remember me and Hector Herrera, because Hector Herrera would stay and watch his son train with the U13 team. So we were talking, and I remember sharing my thoughts on Griffin Dorsey, because And I told him, like, I like this guy, man. He has an amazing work ethic. He works really hard. I think he's one of the hardest workers on the field. And he basically agreed. Like, he genuinely felt that same sentiment about Griffin. Like, he thought that guy was just such a hard worker on the field, and it was, like, contagious. And, I mean, a guy like Hector Herrera, for him to be able to respect a player like Griffin Dorsey, I think says a lot. So, but yeah, Griffin Dorsey, big part of the turnaround for the Houston Dynamo. I think a big culture guy, a real good locker room presence. I remember when I was there, he was the one that organized the bracket challenge, so for March Madness. So was it him or Ethan Barlow? One of those guys. But anyways, Griffin Dorsey was a big part of it. Really cool guy. Genuinely one of the nicest people I've ever met, and I can actually say I actually have met Griffin Dorsey. So, great dude. I wish him the best at Orlando. I'm definitely pulling for him. I believe he scored a goal. I believe he scored a goal in his debut. I could be wrong on that, but I think he did. Let me pull that up. Orlando City. No, he didn't score a goal. He was. I think he was gonna score a goal, but it was called offside. I think that's exactly what happened. But yeah, Griffin Dorsey did make the start, which is crazy to say about Orlando's situation because they desperately needed a right back, and it is kind of interesting to. And I think. So I think the other thing with the Dynamo, they are no longer using a right back because they're now using a 3-back system, so 3 center backs, and then obviously the wingers essentially are wing backs. They're going to be performing, doing the jobs of a winger and of a fullback. So honestly, I think the system would have worked perfectly for Griffin Dorsey, being that he is an attack-minded right back anyways. But hey, to each his own. But yeah, Griffin Dorsey, wish him nothing but the best. Obviously, Dynamo, great 2 win against Chicago Fire. Guilherme, I mean, shows the class that he has from his playing time in Santos in Brazil. So, once upon a time last year was teammates with Neymar. So I think great performance, 2-goal performance, solid game. But still, it sucks losing Griffin Dorsey. Obviously, the memes are there now on the podcast, but which once again follow us on social media on at InsertNameFC on all social media platforms, and you can see all the troll job that he did on me, because Griffin Dorsey was in fact my favorite player for the Dynamo, and he still is my favorite player. I think it's going to be a reason why I watch a lot of Orlando games, is just to be supportive to Griffin Dorsey. So there is that. But yeah, so with all that being said, man, also shout out to Matthew Arana, man. So he just signed a professional contract with the Houston Dynamo. He's actually playing for the Houston Dynamo. He will be in the Houston Dynamo first team roster, not Dynamo 2. Matthew Arana is 15 years old, 5 months old, becoming the youngest player in Houston Dynamo history to sign a pro contract. He's a really good kid, really hard worker. I knew him when he was playing with the U14 team, which was hilarious to me because, this kid was very much a kid. Off the pitch, very kid. Which, as you should be, right? When you're at that age at, 13 years old, you should be a kid. So, but the thing that I found, one thing I would say, at least when I was there, the Dynamo, which was 2023, the U14 team, was it 2023? Yeah, it was 2023. The 2023 U14 team was touted as the most talented group of all the academy teams. So, and it really did show, the way those kids played under Shahad, which that was their coach at the time when I was there. I believe now he's with Columbus Crew's youth system. But yeah, at the time, that was very much so the most talented team. I was very much taken away whenever I got to work their games and watching them play. And Matthew Arana, like I said, very much a kid. Soon as he stepped on that pitch, was just an absolutely different player. The kid was very much smart. A true student of the game, if you will, the way he played. Really good midfielder. Really, really knows when, just timing and everything. Really impressed by what he was able to do for his age. And I mean, after I was released from the Dynamo, he, got a lot of interest. He was with Mexico's U15 team, the team that actually qualified for the World Cup. So he really good for Mexico. He just recently played with the U.S.'s U16 team. So Mexico and USA will be very much monitoring him. Now he's playing with the first team. Well, had a really good preseason with the Dynamo, which is the reason why he was able to get his first pro contract and being the youngest player in Dynamo history to get a pro contract. I think that's amazing on him. Just all telling about how he's matured over the years, and still having that same tenacity and mentality that he's always had. So really props to him. Shout out to Matthew Aranda, man. I can't wait to hopefully see him get his debut. That's going to be really exciting for him. But with that being said, man, I think I took a lot longer than I need to. But we'll go ahead and take a break and then go right into headlines. Let me tell you guys about Belly Up Sports. Belly Up Sports is the internet sports bar. Go ahead and check out their website, www.bellyupsports.com, to read some great articles from great writers all across the country, from hockey, baseball, golf, soccer, you name it. Belly Up Sports is the premier, not your average website. All right, guys, kicking things off with the first headline, and that is Lionel Messi, man. So, after Inter Miami's 3-0 shellacking from LAFC in the iconic LA Coliseum, because, if you're going to have Inter Miami, you got to do it big and have it in one of the largest venues, or one of the most historical venues besides the Rose Bowl in Los Angeles, California. I think, the turnout was phenomenal. Obviously, it's a chance to see Lionel Messi, but on top of that, it's Heung-Min Son, because we are talking about LAFC as well. I think they really performed. Obviously, you would want to see, if you're going in as a unbiased spectator, you would love to see Inter Miami also be on the performing side. I think that there's a lot of changes with that team, so there is going to be at least a little bit of a dip, at least initially, but I think that they'll be fine. I think they'll get into the groove of it, and Miami will be fine. But yeah, when it comes down to it, the chemistry that LAFC already has already with a lot of the players, because I don't know if there's any drastically new signings that you would need to gel in. I mean, the main core is going to be Denny Bouanga and Heung-Min Son, and they came to play. They did a really good job against this Inter Miami team, and really made sure that they had a really good game plan on how to defend Messi, and that was just being on him like white on rice. That they were very physical with him, which I think that's kind of what is stemming from this topic, right? So after the match, Messi, there's a video leaked out of Messi very much not happy, very furious, preparing to follow the referees into their locker room, which ended up, which you see Luis Suarez doing all that he can to restrain Messi from following them, because obviously this is not what it's very unprofessional and very unlike of a player of the caliber of Messi to be doing this. The reason why I think Messi was very much not happy with it, because like I said, the game plan for LAFC was to be as physical as you can be with Lionel Messi. And I don't necessarily think it was dirty by any means. I think they played as physical as they can be without getting too many calls per se. I think Messi was expecting, the way they were as physical with him, that he was going to get some calls. He got dropped a few times, I know that for a fact, but I don't think anything was dirty. I don't think anything was foul worthy, if you get what I mean. Maybe there's some physical moments where you felt like maybe there should have been a call there, but I don't, play on is play on, I think. But yeah, I think, Lionel Messi just was probably very much agitated throughout the game, which is what LAFC was hoping for, right? When you're going to be as physical with a player, the goal is to get this player so agitated that they're going to make poor decisions as far as ball placement and movement, right? And I think that that's exactly what worked out for LAFC. It worked according to plan. And the big payoff is essentially them winning 3-0. But on top of that, not getting many fouls from playing that physically. So, and I do believe that LAFC was playing very cleanly. So, I don't know if the refs really had any opportunity to stop it. I know that there's like the whole speculation that maybe Miami gets favorable calls, and they probably do, but I can't really tell you. But yeah, and so this has happened before where a player has uh was not happy with a decision from a referee and had to address it, and that goes back all the way to 2023, literally 3 years ago, where Mad Miazga, a U.S. men's national team defender who is very notorious for being very hot-headed, so nothing like Messi, but very notorious for being hot-headed and always talks back to the referees. So this is very much in his MO. Like, this is very on point for him, on brand. But yeah, he did a similar stunt. He followed the referee into his locker room, essentially trying to get, I guess, clarity or context. I don't really know. But, in the end of the day, like, when it comes down to it, like, what's gonna come from you talking to the referee? Like, what do you gain from like speaking to the referee? Is the referee gonna be like, you're right, let me take back that call? Like, especially after the game, like, what is the referee gonna do? You're right, Messi, I should have gave you a foul call. Let's get back on the field. Let's go back to that minute and let's get you a free kick. Like, there's nothing that can be done at the game. And I think, as more people have this discussion about like VAR and all that, a lot of people were kind of just like, you know what, let's just get rid of VAR. It really does nothing. At the end of the day, it's still going to involve the human element part of it, which is like, if they just don't see it, they don't see it. Like, VAR is great and all, it's fine and dandy. Like, does it change the game? It does change the game in some places, but I mean, like, if it doesn't benefit you, you don't like it. That's the whole thing about VAR, and I think a lot of people aren't getting the resolution that they want from VAR decisions. And on top of that, it's costing so much more time to the game. Like, it's adding like ridiculous amount of stoppage time because of the VAR, having to go into the VAR, having to listen to the video assistant referee, tell them, hey, you might want to go take a look at this. And then they have to go run all the way down to the monitor to go look at the said play and see if they agree or disagree. And then they make their decision, and next thing you know, we have 8 minutes of stoppage time. So the human element is kind of part of the game, right? In every sport, like when it comes to officiating, that's kind of what is like adds on to the drama of the game. When you think of for the NFL, when you think of the Des Bryant catch, whether or not it was a catch, did he or did he not make a football move? Was it a complete pass? Wasn't or a complete pass? Like, that was arguments that were made because of the human element, because it went down to a human decision. And handball, a thing that's constantly being argued in this sport specifically. Where you have one of the, to me, the weirdest thing, which is the intent. Was there intent with the handball? Which I think is important. It is, in fact, an important thing. Like, obviously, there's times where it just happens, right? Like, your hand just was there. If it was black and white, every handball would be a handball. But when you look at intent, you can, if you see the player, like, is in fact, like, the hand is part of his body, like, that's the whole big giveaway if you're not doing a handball. So, yeah, there's a lot of factors into it. But, yeah, officiating, I think they're not going to catch everything. They're just not. The whole point of VAR is so that they might catch everything. But I don't really see the benefit. Anyways, that's not important. But Mad Miazga, like I said, gets right to, goes and faces the referees, trying to confront them about it, which obviously led to nothing, because what's the referee going to do at this point? The game's over. Which then Mad Miazga was sentenced to a 3-game suspension. So, and obviously MLS is going to conduct their investigation on this incident. Does it like not look good for Lionel Messi to be going after the referee? And I think they're gonna have to make a statement. They're gonna have to make. I don't mean make a statement in a statement. I mean they're gonna have to punish Messi. Like, there's no way. Like, if they don't punish Messi, the allegations of the league favors Messi. Especially like Inter Miami already like many people feel Inter Miami gets so much favorable decisions on them. With the roster decisions, right? Because Miami, everyone's trying to figure out how Miami is able to have all these players, and especially with like how strict the roster rules are. Now, I think Miami has done a lot of good things when it comes to their roster decision. I think they've learned from their mistakes. But yeah, at the end of the day, people still have their viewpoint on Miami. But I mean, this is pretty straightforward. Messi is in fact following the referees. Now, props to Suarez and trying to prevent something from happening. I still feel like there's something that needs to be done. Like we don't know what happened after Suarez held off Messi. Did Messi end up finding a way to get into that locker room and confronting the referees? We don't know. And also, I didn't watch the video fully, so that's also the other thing. But if it shows that Messi did in fact confront the referees after the match, I think that there needs to be a suspension. Maybe it's a 3-game suspension. Maybe so. Could it go even further? Because clearly a player doing the same stunt, giving a 3-match suspension, clearly wasn't enough. So what if you add more matches to it? Especially if they're able to do that with Inter Miami, I think that's going to be. I think if Messi does get punished, it's going to be a 3-match suspension. I think that's probably what's going to be given to him. But I mean, if you want to make a statement for the rest of the league, like, hey, we're not going to let you guys keep doing this, and I mean, it's not like it's constantly happened. Like, I mean, it literally happened 3 years ago. But still, for you to be that agitated with the decision of the referees, that you have to go and follow them into their locker room and try to confront them about it, I think that's holds a lot of discussions, at least in that aspect. And so, with that being said, man, because if Messi does face suspension, the next 3 matches, I'm gonna add the next 5 matches just if they were to want to be even more severe with Messi. But if there were to be a 3-match suspension after this whole investigation is done and over with, Messi could potentially miss a road game to Orlando, a road game to DC United, and a road game to Charlotte. Now, Orlando, they're coming off of a pretty rough loss to Red Bull New York, but also it's still early on in the season. We really don't know where these teams are going to be. Orlando is kind of like 50-50 whether or not they're going to be good or bad. But that is, a team. It's a rivalry game. It's a Florida derby, so I think that's still something that needs to be looked at. DC United coming off of a big win, a big upset victory against Philadelphia Union. Maybe they found something here, right? With Baribo now up top, maybe they have something here. And I mean, the way Miami was just giving up 3 goals in their last match, a guy like Baribo could be a messy recipe, right? No pun intended. And then at Charlotte obviously argued as one of the best defenses in MLS. Kalina, impressive performance. I think defensively it wasn't great against St. Louis, but Kalina definitely putting the team on his back with the way he was playing at goalkeeper. But yeah, the attack, maybe Charlotte is still kind of lacklustering, which is something that came from last season. But still, we'll see what happens with Charlotte, especially at that point, it's the 4th game of the season. So maybe Charlotte has figured some things out and to finally get in the groove. We'll see. But that is 3 games on the road for Inter Miami. Now, I think Inter Miami has built this roster to prepare themselves when Messi isn't available, or some of their stars aren't available. So I think that this will be a good test to see how well Miami did with their player acquisitions. So, not necessarily a bad situation. I think that this is a good test. The good part is that it's early on. I think that that's the other thing, right? It's early on in the season. It's not going to be too detrimental. And once again, I hate saying this because of the fact that I don't genuinely believe that MLS's regular season means nothing. It's meaningless. Because at the end of the day, you still have to finish in a playoff position. Yes, the regular season does in fact matter. You do still need to get into a playoff position. Obviously, maybe the question is because there's 9 playoff positions, if you will, if you count the 2 wildcard spots. But yeah, I still think if you're Miami, this is not a bad thing. 1, you get to test how deep your roster is now. 2, it's early on, so it's not necessarily too detrimental if you're not able to collect 9 points from these 3 matches. If Messi gets suspended, that's also a big if. If you're not able to collect all 9 points and you come out with 5 or 4 or 0 even, or it's not necessarily the end of the world. You still have Messi at the end of the day. He's gonna play out as long as he's healthy, and obviously kind of closer towards the World Cup, we might see him maybe take less minutes. But I mean, I think this is an interesting situation for MLS. Like if they're able to feel that what Messi did was egregious and inappropriate and very much punishment worthy, does he get a suspension? And what does that tell the rest of the league? Like, hey, we're not going to tolerate this. I think that's going to be the big part. And that could be a big lesson. Hopefully. I mean, it literally took 3 years. It took 3 years for another incident similar to this to happen. I think when you play a physical team, which that's what LAFC was doing, they were playing very physical with Messi, tempers are going to flare. And, maybe he felt the referees did him wrong. And we'll see. I felt that LAFC, while playing physical, were still playing a very clean game. So there is that. So we'll see what happens, man. This investigation probably won't last long because they're gonna have to make a decision by match day two. So we'll see what happens. All right, guys. Quick update. So from the footage that was given, apparently, not apparently, given from the footage, MLS did view that Messi did not violate anything. I think props to Luis Suarez for preventing something that would have been really bad for him. So, yeah, Lionel Messi's fine. He is not going to receive any punishment or suspension, which, I mean, like I said, because of Luis Suarez just holding him back a little bit, maybe he calmed down a little bit and then just went to the locker room. So, at least there's that. But yeah, continue on with the conversation. All right. So, Mauricio Pochettino. There are rumors circulating that the U.S. men's national team manager, Mauricio Pochettino, could potentially leave the U.S. men's national team regardless of the results of the 2026 FIFA World Cup. Meaning, it doesn't matter if the U.S. men's national team gets grouped or wins the World Cup, he will be leaving the U.S. men's national team and go back into European club competition. You think? Like, this is, like, not as a crazy of a take as you think. Like, Mauricio Pochettino, obviously, his last stint was Chelsea, right? Which wasn't necessarily the best stint for him. He had the Chelsea job, the PSG job, which, to be honest, like, it's not necessarily difficult to win with PSG. At least win the league. Maybe the Champions League, which, I mean, now the standard is set with Luis Enrique. But it's not necessarily it's up there with Bayern Munich, right? Like, you should be able to win the Bundesliga if you're the manager of Bayern Munich. But I think with this, I think what happened was Mauricio Pochettino, obviously, once again, not a great look for him with the way he exited with Chelsea. And even his time at PSG was very overwhelming. So, he sees this opportunity with the U.S. men's national team, and at least the way I'm viewing it, if I was Mauricio Pochettino, okay, my resume hasn't really looked great since I took Tottenham to the Champions League final. So, what can I do to improve my stock? Well, what if I can get the U.S. men's national team further than expectations in the World Cup? Like, what if I'm able to change the soccer culture of the U.S.? Like, give them an identity, right? Like, what if I'm able to do this? Bring in guys that really do fit to my system and prove that I can get people to buy in on U.S. soccer. Like, if he's, like, once again, if he's able, and I think, obviously, getting out of the group, I think is honestly the expectation as many Americans should have for the U.S. men's national team. But if he's able to get him out of the group, get him past the round of 32, and even maybe past the round of 16, like, if he can get them to the quarterfinals, that is already, like, he already, not only did he reach his limit, he burst right through it. Once again, I don't expect the U.S. men's national team to win the World Cup. Like, I'm really gonna be honest with you. They're probably not. But if you're able to get them past the round of 16, I think, my expectation is just getting to the round of 16. That is just, win the group. Well, not necessarily win the group, but get out of the group stage. win that round of 32 matchup, and then get to the round of 16. That to me, that's my bar. That to me, that's my expectation for the U.S. men's national team. Some people have lower bars, and that's respectively so. But I think the way that Poch has these guys playing, the way they play in this system, the way the players that he's selected, the way he's got this mentality for some of these guys, I think that getting out of the group is bare minimum. So that's bare minimum, and expectations obviously should be higher. Should always have a higher expectation versus the bare minimum. But at least that's where I'm viewing. So yeah, no doubt Pochettino is gonna leave. Like I don't. His contract expires after the World Cup. Like is unless they re-sign him, I think maybe if he wins the World Cup, maybe he does stay with the U.S. men's national team. But like, I think he's literally using the U.S. men's national team to leverage his skill set, his ability as a manager, like his ability to manage a team that maybe a lot of people view as inferior as far as talent goes, which, I mean, compared to the rest of the world, probably you can have that viewpoint. If he's able to get the U.S. men's national team in levels that no one anticipated, yeah, I think a lot of clubs are going to come after him. Now there's also rumors going around because of the fact that like Tottenham moved on from Thomas Frank. Could Mauricio Pochettino come the summer become manager of Tottenham again? I think once again he's had a really good run with Tottenham. You can say good things about Big Ange, but Mauricio Pochettino, I think most people will. I mean, obviously, besides winning the Europa League, like a lot of people do still have a lot of positiveness from Pochettino. So I think that this is like all this is what Poch is hoping that could happen for him, right? If he's able to get everyone behind him, get everyone full support of how he's able to do with the U.S. men's national team, which right now, I will tell you, I feel like the U.S. men's national team has been playing a lot better as a group. I believe Pochettino's system has been implemented very well. The mentality is there. Like the thing that everyone's like laughing about, how there's guys that think that the U.S. men's national team can win the World Cup, or that Pochettino believes the U.S. men's national team can win the World Cup. Well, if you're in the tournament, you want to compete and win it. Like there's nobody in there that's saying, "Oh, we're just there." Hey guys, this is Hector from the Insert Name FC podcast, here to tell you guys about Canada Dips. It is a great tasting, superior alternative to traditional dip, using CBD in a way that is radical, enjoyable, and effective. It comes in 5 core flavors: wintergreen, mint, citrus, mango, and American spice. Canada Dip CBD is the new evolution in dip, allowing guys to enjoy great, long-lasting taste without the downsides. If you guys want to go ahead and try them out, use the code BELLYUP20 at CanadaDipCBD.com. Once again, BELLYUP20 at CanadaDipCBD.com, and you'll get yourself 20% off your purchase. Thank you again for Canada Dips for being a great partner of Belly Up Sports. Say what you want about Curacao. Like, Curacao is going to go there and put in the good old college try. Like, the objective is still to win the World Cup. If you're in the World Cup, your objective is to win the World Cup. Like no one should be going into the World Cup like, oh, like let's just get a draw. Let's just get draws in our group. Like no one's bar. Like if you're a player and you're gonna be in the World Cup, you're not in there like, oh, we're not gonna win the World Cup. Like it's okay. Like no, you're going into the like. Is there people that have a higher probability to win the World Cup? Yes. But if you're first of all, if you're a fan and you hear of your own players saying like, yeah, we're not gonna win this. Like, then why are we here? Like, so if you're Curacao, you should be thinking like, hey, mate, we could win this World Cup. Maybe not, but like the confidence should be there. And I think that's what Pochettino is saying. Like, why can't we be confident? Why can't we just say like we want to win the World Cup? Like, why is that terrible to say? Like, everybody should want to win the World Cup. Like, now, is it realistic that anyone can win the World Cup? No. Like, I mean, it takes a lot of work. It takes a little bit of luck, but it does take a really good group of players that can work as a unit and to get to that objective. Yes, it's very true. But I think that you still want aspirations to win the World Cup. Like, if you're in the World Cup, you want to win the World Cup. You should be wanting to win the World Cup. Like, regardless of what country you're in, regardless of what your talent pool is, you want to win the World Cup. And so, but yeah, so if Pochettino can come in with this mentality, right? We're hearing all the things, right? Like, he watched Miracle, right? Like he was talking about how he watched Miracle and was inspired by the movie Miracle. Well, obviously it's based on a true story, right? But he was inspired by Miracle. And if you actually watch the movie Miracle, if you actually watched it, which by the way, if you haven't watched it, watch it. It's a great movie, by the way. It's very. I think from what I've gathered, it's actually very accurate to the actual USA team that the Miracle on Ice, right? That beat Soviet Union in the Olympics. Which, by the way, U.S. hockey just did beat U.S. men's and women's hockey beat Canada for the gold medal in the Olympics recently. Actually, this past weekend. But because the thing that was interesting was the coach of that hockey team, instead of going after what was the quote unquote best players, the best American players in hockey, he went for guys that fit to his system, to fit to his tactics. And I think that that's what Pochettino's doing. He's like, if I can get the best players on this team, I think there's very little times that I ever want to quote Alexi Lalas. But the one thing I will say that I will take from him is a national team isn't the group of the best players. It's the best collection of players. And that's what Pochettino's doing. And I think if Pochettino, once again, if he can get his best collection of players that fit to what his tactics are, to fit to his system, and buy into his system, which I'm telling you right now, I think the players are actually doing that. I think that the U.S. could exceed expectations of many, which right now I think the expectations of many is to get out of the group. My expectation once again is get to the round of 16, but if he's able to do that, that's going to raise his stock. Like if he can do this with the U.S., imagine what he can do with our club. And I mean, I don't know if he can get the PSG job. I think Tottenham could very much happen. I think he could go back to Tottenham. But like getting a Barca job or getting the Real Madrid job or Atletico or maybe Italian side. But like for him to get his stamp back and get like his approval rating, I think that if he can have a good showing with the U.S. men's national team, people are gonna want him. Because it's like you can do that with the U.S. Imagine what you can do with players that actually went through the proper system, right? So I think that it's not a crazy thing to say that Mauricio Pochettino will be leaving after the World Cup. As a matter of fact, I believe he still has I think he still lives in Barcelona. So I don't know if he has like an actual home here in the U.S. Like as far as I can tell, I've never seen any reports about him. Maybe he has like an apartment or something like that just for the meantime, but he still lives in Barcelona. Like he's still a resident of Barcelona, which I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. Like if you have the money, do what you got, do what you want to do, right? But I just think that it's not crazy that Mauricio Pochettino wants to leave. Like the thing is especially with national teams, man, like. Do you really want to have the same I know there's national teams that have had the same managers for like years and years and years, but at some point eras change, right? Players come and go. It is impressive when a national team manager is able to still get the best out of his guys, but like Joachim Low, he's not managing Germany anymore, he won the World Cup with Germany. So I mean, like that, it's cyclical. Like it's really, honestly, national teams are cyclical. Like your cycle is done, you can move on, then do your own thing. Now there are guys that just prefer being national team coaches, and then there's guys that want to be club coaches. And I think Pochettino wants to be a club coach. Like national team is fine and dandy and all, but like I think he wants the club life. Like he wants to be, game preparation every week. He wants to. Do this, like the scouting and, player model and all those things, like what they're looking for to fit his best thing. I think he likes that lifestyle. He prefers that. There's guys that do prefer national team life, which is a different type of scouting. It's a different type of preparation. It's a lot of different things, preparing for your international break for some friendlies versus preparing for a match, preparing for a tournament like the World Cup is different from preparing just an everyday match, maybe a midday match in the Carabao Cup. It's a lot different than the national team. And while maybe Pochettino, a lot of people are really happy for him and supporting him, like maybe he just prefers the club life. And I think that there's nothing wrong with it. I think that this, once again, he did this from the jump because he sees an opportunity that could raise his stock. And I'm not against it. I think that that's it's not a crazy thing to do. We've seen managers do it all the time. So I think that this is it's not shocking to me. Like if you're shocked if Mauricio Pochettino is going to leave the U.S. men's national team for an opportunity with a big club in Europe, then you're crazy. That's all I got to say. You're absolutely crazy. All right, last headline. So, at this point, you probably knew what happened, but we'll go ahead and talk about it. So, Vinícius Jr., because everyone likes talking about that guy. Vinícius Jr. in their match. So, for you guys, if you guys are living under a rock for some weird reason, Real Madrid are playing Benfica in their playoff round. So obviously, Real Madrid finished in 9th place. Benfica finished in 24th, I believe. I don't remember. Yeah, they did 24th. They got the last spot. So they are playing in the playoff round in the Champions League. So, which means the winners of this round will then go into the round of 16. And so Real Madrid take on Benfica in their first leg, which was at Benfica Stadium. And Real Madrid got a 1-0 victory against them, which honestly is a positive result. For anybody that's like, oh, 1-0 really against them? After the last incident that happened in that stadium, well, you should gladly take that. But so Real Madrid won 1-0 over Benfica. Vini was the one that scored the goal. It was honestly like a beauty of a goal. Just great shot, great goal. And of course, Vini being Vini, he goes to the corner line and starts doing a dance. Like he starts celebrating, which is very on point for Vini. Vini celebrates. Like that's one of those things that people do. And so Vini celebrates, which was funny because then he gets a yellow card for obviously, I guess, unsportsmanlike conduct, I guess you could say is what he was given for. And then things happened. So in that scenario, essentially what exactly is happening, I don't know not exactly. Essentially, what is being said is that Benfica player Gianluca Prestiani is accused of saying a racial slur to Vinícius Jr. And the footage that shows it is you see Prestiani Prestiani is in fact covering his face with his jersey and saying something to Vinícius Jr. The word that's being questioned that Vinny's being called is mono, which in Spanish translates to monkey. Which if you're familiar with like at least some of the racist remarks that like black players in Europe get, it's normally just it's being called monkey. And then on top of that, there's videos of the fans who are making like monkey gestures at Vinícius Jr. So this is something that has happened throughout the game over there in Europe. It's honestly it's crazy that we're in 2026 and we're still talking about this, but honestly, I'm not. I'm really not. Like at this point, who's shocked? Who's shocked at this point? And I think because of Vinny was confronting Prestiani, and he said something again, and then Vinny goes right to the referee, and then Vinny ends up leaving the pitch and is just chilling at the bench, and this leads to a 10-minute delay of the match. So UEFA begins their like a stoppage of racial abuse, like their investigation of racial abuse at that moment, which ended up lasting 10 minutes. Which then you see like players confronting Prestiani, on, calling him a racist and all those things. Now, once again, none of us are there. None of us are on the field. Like, none of us hurt him, Now, there's also videos of, saying that, oh, no, he's calling him hermano. Hermano and mono are two different things to say, But there is a video of him saying hermano. That could probably have been at a different point of the match that he called him hermano. But the whole mono part is what many people feel is what he truly said, is where he covered his face. And I mean, it's a very common thing in I wouldn't say just in football, but in sports in general, where, players cover their mouths. And normally it's because they're trying to figure out some sort of strategy to get get a certain play done. So they cover their mouths so that way no one can try to lip read, right? But you can also argue that they also cover their mouths because they're more than likely probably saying something that's very inappropriate. Could potentially be something to be said. Now, I think in this scenario, he definitely said something that he didn't want people to know he said, which is why he covered his mouth, because he wasn't talking about strategy with a teammate. He was definitely talking to Vinícius Jr. So, and that, once again, you get the reaction from Kylian Mbappe, you get the reaction from Trent Alexander-Arnold. This once again is just where the beautiful game isn't as pretty as we thought it was, And I think once again, racism is still very much alive and well. Like it's just, and it's because once again, it's all from upbringing. It's how you were raised. There's people that still feel a certain way, and that's just honestly the truth of it. Am I happy about that truth? Absolutely not. I mean, let's be honest. I'm not happy about this at all. Like, this is not how we should be as human beings. Like, first and foremost, we're all human beings at the end of the day. Regardless of who you are, regardless of what you do, at the end of the day, we're all human beings, and we should be treated as such. I think, and the good thing, I don't want to say the good thing, because there's really nothing good from an incident like this, but is the amount of support that Vinícius Jr. did receive from many other players that are not from Real Madrid that have stood in support of Vinícius Jr. But there should be a question here, right? Besides, I mean, the obvious thing, the whole racism thing. But why is it Vinny? Like, I mean, many players across the world that are black that do receive racism. But why is it always just Vinny? Why is Vinny always the person that gets the headline? And I think, especially because Vinícius Jr. has dealt with racism many times. Obviously, he spoke out about how racist, Spain is and all those things. Honestly, if I had to really take a guess as to why it's always Vinny, I think it comes down to Vinny gets the reaction. Vinny reacts. And the reason why I say that is because if you look at, there's videos of Lamine Yamal that he gets also hit with racial abuse as well. He responds in a different way. And there's nothing, like, first of all, I'm not saying that one matters more. Like, I'm not saying, react more like Lamine Yamal versus Vinícius Jr. There's not really like a rule book on how to react to racism, by the way. So this is just, but the way I'm saying it, the reason why, maybe we don't see Lamine Yamal getting the reactions that we see Vinny is because Lamine Yamal responds differently. So, it kind of goes into the ways of a bully, right? A bully. What satisfies a bully? The reaction. The bully gets happy when he gets the reaction he wants. So when you see like Lamine Yamal not being fazed by the same, probably similar racial abuse as Vinícius Jr. does, and they see it doesn't necessarily work, or at least from what we see, right? It's clearly not working with Lamine Yamal, right? Because Lamine Yamal continues on, plays on. Maybe he gives him a look, maybe he does a little thing, but he continues on, right? He doesn't react. He doesn't get angry. But when you have Vinícius and you hit him with those same, racial remarks, you get a reaction from him. And it's because Vinícius is a very emotional person. He plays with his heart on his sleeve. Like, he is an emotional player. So when he gets hit with it, he reacts. He gets the reaction. So the fans, the players that are attacking him, they get what they want, which is a reaction. That's what they were hoping for. They're hoping to get in his head and phase him. I don't know about the whole getting in his head part, because I think Vinny has had plenty of times where he does have those kind of reactions and then scores a goal and then kind of does get in their face. But but I think the reason why the videos are Vinny is because he responds, he reacts. There's players that don't. And once again, there is no playbook, right? Like, first of all, there shouldn't even be a playbook on how to deal with racism. But I think at the end of the day, Vinny is the one that reacts. That's the reason why we have videos of Vinícius Jr. Vinny, again, gets attacked by racism. That's why we see Vinny more so than any other player, because of the fact that he reacts. He gives them what they want for what they're trying to do. Vinny gets the reaction, gives them the reaction that they're hoping for. And I mean, like I said, we've seen it time and time again. Players that have dealt with racial abuse. We have. I mean, one of the things that I always remember, and it's always like, at this point, it's just in my brain, is Dani Alves. So Dani Alves, he was taking a corner and they threw a banana at him. They threw a banana at Dani Alves. And Dani Alves, what does he do? He picks up the banana, opens the banana, takes a bite, and then throws it away. That's how he reacted. That's his response to it. Did that give them the satisfaction they wanted? No. If anything, you just helped Dani Alves just help on it, prevent some cramps. But like, that's the reason why they attack Vinny. So for the people like, oh, maybe it's just Vinny being over dramatic and just being, because once again, I know Vinny's a controversial player. But I mean, like, once again, there's no right or wrong way to, in my opinion, to respond to racism. So you can take the high road. You can be, don't be what they want you to become. You can take that road, or you can just not tolerate it and let it be known. Like, I'm not letting this slide. And that's what Vinny did. He's like, I'm not letting this slide. I'm not letting this go. You guys will address this issue. Did they address it then and there? No, because Prestiani continued on playing. He played a little timid, I will say that. But they continued with the game. I will also say, Jose Mourinho. Just a giant fuck you. Sorry for cussing Kelsey, but this was one of those times I had to do it. Jose Mourinho implies this wouldn't have happened if you didn't dance. Talk about just being just not at the moment. Like, you're justifying it. That is the most insane thing ever. Is justifying. Telling Vinny that you were asking for it because you celebrated the goal in the way you did. Like, first of all, we're talking about a game, right? Like, this is a game that we all grew up playing, right? That we were all kids playing. And when we scored goals, what did we do? We did dances. We did, we saw this player do it on TV. We're going to do that same celebration. How many people did the shoe cleaning celebration? Who many people? My friends, we used to do the cockroach celebration. We used to do all these celebrations that we saw on TV that we thought was so freaking cool, that when we were going to play pickup, not even a real, actual, a Sunday league game, we're just playing pickup and we're scoring goals and we're just doing the celebrations.
Righteous Felon Craft Jerky is the official jerky of Belly Up Sports. For over a decade, Righteous Felon Craft Jerky has led the American meat snack revolution by concocting delicious, adventurous, U.S.-sourced jerky recipes for uncompromising carnivores across the country. With 15 different flavors to choose from, Righteous Felon has all jerky lovers covered, and by using promo code BELLYUP, you will get 15% off your purchase at righteousfelon.com. Do your taste buds a favor today and rip into a bag of Righteous Felon jerky.
At the end of the day, it's a game, man. It's funny to me that in sports, we're telling these athletes act professional. We're playing it's a game. We're playing a game. What are we talking about professionalism in a game? You know, like that to me was one of the funniest things ever about when it comes to sports. Once you get to a professional level, like you have to act professional to play a game. Like I get it, like, there is certain things that you need to once it becomes your job is to play the sport. But at the end of the day, you're playing a game. Every moment feels thrilling. Like you score a game winner, what are you supposed to do? Just keep, walk back to your position and get ready for kickoff? No, you're going to celebrate. You're going to celebrate with the fans. You're going to celebrate with your teammates. You're going to go hug your coach. You're gonna go find your mom in the stands. Like this is the things that you do in those moments. You're gonna do a dance. You're gonna take your shirt off. Maybe you have something that says, rest in peace, grandpa. Like you're gonna do these things because in the moment it's just a thrill. You're playing a game. You were just like you were a 5-year-old one time, kicking around a ball, just as life as simple as it is. And now you're in the biggest stage, millions of people. Not only in the stadium, like you have hundreds of thousands of people watching you, but on top of that, you have millions and billions of people watching you on TV, and chanting your name, wearing your name on their shirts, and you're in the moment. And so, like for me, I have let the kids play, let them celebrate, let them have fun. Like it's a game. like this is crazy that it's a game that we're talking about here. No, I don't think you should. I don't think you're supposed to receive racism for grinding on a flagpole. So that and it's funny because there's like rumors apparently that Jose Mourinho may want to get the Real Madrid job. You're not getting the Real Madrid job after that. Like, I mean, I don't want you to get the Real Madrid job. Like, I will gladly take anybody else for Jose. I will gladly get Mauricio Pochettino than if I to ever have to deal with Jose Mourinho ever again as a manager, especially after that just dunce of a moment, right? Like just talk about just brain dead and not being in that situation, just being unaware of the scenario. That is to me the craziest thing ever. Like that. Yeah, Jose Mourinho just needs to retire, man. Like I think the game has just passed him at this point. Like, I don't know how Benfica's looking right now in the league, but yeah, that was just dumb. It's just the stupidest thing ever to say to a player. Like, oh yeah, maybe they wouldn't call you a monkey if you didn't celebrate your goal. You scored a great goal. Don't need to celebrate. Like, bro, you scored a great goal. You need to celebrate. Like, that is like the craziest take ever. You scored a banger. Like, bro, if I never got to score a goal, like, so if I would have scored a banger, bro, best believe I'm half naked. Like, that's like, it's just never gonna happen again for me. So, like, that's insane, bro. Like, seriously, that is crazy of a take from Jose Mourinho on that part. Now, for the people that are like, because, Benfica, I think you still have to give the benefit of the doubt, right? Like, I mean, I don't think Benfica fans should in any way be like, get this guy out of our team. Because once again, I think if you're a Benfica fan, you should be at least on the stance of innocent until proven guilty. I mean, right now the evidence ain't looking great, but you still need to be able to be like, there's still at some point you have to, like, I don't think it's bad. Like, if you're a Benfica supporter and you're trying to like, well, maybe he didn't say it. Maybe he didn't say it. Maybe Vinny got mad over something else. Maybe he called his mom fat. I don't know. Like, there's other things, and so I get that part, but I don't blame Benfica for at least standing by Prestiani. If some people think that's wrong, I don't think so, because I think, once again, you gotta at least give the guy the benefit of the doubt, at least for right now. But obviously, once the investigation's over and it turns out that he did in fact call Vinícius Jr. a monkey, then I mean, yeah, like, what can I do? Like, this guy is gonna lose his career for this, like, he's like 20 years old, 18, 19 years. He's very young. Just that's the whole point. He's very young, and he did this, and it could harm his career. Like, honestly, he might have to go back to Argentina and play in the Argentinian league, because I don't see, or a league that maybe doesn't care too much about that, or just really needs good players. I mean, but yeah, like, as far as like, if it does come out that he said this, like, he might get an opportunity with a club. I think. I mean, Luis Suarez still played. I know Patrice Evra hates the guy for life, but like, there's always going to be a team that's going to look past it. I mean, Mason Greenwood's still a thing, by the way. But I mean, like, yeah, I think right now, if you're Benfica, you give the guy the benefit of the doubt. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Like, I mean, he's still, at least at right now, he's still your guy. Now, if once again UEFA does the investigation and it comes out that he did it, and I mean, I'm sure there's gonna be a suspension following with it for him as well. Like, I can see Benfica parting ways with him, like moving on, like just getting rid of his contract and just call it a day. And then Prestiani, I mean, maybe he goes back to Argentina. Maybe. Quick update. So, the player, Piastreni, he is going to be suspended for at least the second leg of the Real Madrid match for the playoff round. As far as any further punishment, so what it looks like, if it is found to be true that he in fact said mono, he will be getting a 10-match suspension. Take that for what you want. Say what you want to say about it. Obviously, UEFA's giving them that suspension. Now it is up to what Benfica wants to do. I think once everything comes out, because once again, they're still under investigation, so I'm not saying that he did in fact do it. Obviously we all feel the way we feel about the whole incident. But I don't know why I'm playing with my glasses right now. We all feel how we feel about the current situation. But right now, they're still under investigation. If they were to find something, then of course, Piastreni will be suspended, and then it'll be interesting to see what happens for what will Benfica decide to do. Will they cut ties with him? Will they try to keep him on? What is that move? And that's also pretty intriguing as far as all that's going to happen. So, but that is the update, at least for right now, on Piastreni. But I mean, like, for me, yes. Obviously, I stand with Vinny. One, racism, it really shouldn't have, as international as this sport is. Like, there's no reason why there's racism in this league. There's no reason to have racism in general. But like in this sport, we call it the beautiful game. We call it the game that, that everybody's welcome to play in, regardless of your language, your religion, your culture, your skin color, your food preferences. Like, it doesn't matter. It's all about just having fun with a ball. Yeah, like it's crazy that we have racism in this league, like in this sport. It's crazy that we have racism in general, but I think that, like, I don't blame Benfica, at least trying to stand by Prestiani. I really don't. I don't think anybody should vilify Benfica if we're doing this right now. Obviously, once the decision is made by UEFA and he gets a suspension, then we should probably see what Benfica is going to do with it afterwards. But for right now, yeah, I mean, stand by your guy. Give him the benefit of the doubt. That is perfectly fine. Like, if anyone's telling you differently, like, at some point, cool heads need to prevail. And I think that this is one of those cool head opinions. Like, I don't necessarily think, you ban the guy right away. Like, I mean, maybe ask him, like, hey man, be for real with me. Like, be for real. And he might lie. Honestly, like, and that's the other thing. He might lie. I mean, because he knows he's, like, very much fucked. Like, this is one of those, like, maybe we look past it. No. This is, like, not a great look for him. It's like this is a PR nightmare. Like, this is gonna be, like, the toughest thing for this kid. If it does come out to be true that he did say what he said, it's gonna be a tough look for anybody to defend him, and we'll see what happens to him, man. That's really what it comes down to it. But I stand with Vinny. Look, Vinny can be as controversial as he can be, and I've said it plenty of times, man. Like, Vinny can be Vinny because as long as Vinny is Vinny. I take him for everything that he is. This is one of those times where he was not wrong. He was not in the wrong. You celebrate a goal. Like, who gets punished for, like, if Benfica, like, honestly, if Benfica didn't like him celebrating a goal, I don't know, hit him with, like, a little bit of an elbow or something like that. But you don't call somebody that, like, get physical with him, cool, but that, to me, that's not, like, you don't go that route. Like, if so that's what me, first and foremost, at the end of the day, let the kids play. Let the kids play. Like, let them have fun. This is the whole point of this game. It's fun. Scoring goals is fun. Dancing and celebrating scoring goals is fun. That's what we should be promoting. Not, oh, don't celebrate a goal. We might call you a monkey. Like, that's not what we should be promoting. And so we'll see what happens, man, as all this transpires. Like, we'll see what comes after it. But I'm definitely disappointed in everything that's happened. But it's rough, you know. Once again, we call this the beautiful game. We call this the game that welcomes everybody, and this is what's happening. It's rough, man. It is rough. This is one of those rough times, man. But all right, we're gonna go and take a break, and then go right into players of the week.
I love soccer, Peggy.
All right, guys. Players of the week is brought to you by SeatGeek. SeatGeek is an awesome ticketing site, app, however you use it. It is great for attending all live events, from concerts to live sporting events. SeatGeek has you covered. Me and Edward, we love its simplicity. It has a really simple grading system. Using 10-point scale and colors. If it's really red and very low, then those seats for that price, it's not worth it. Keep scrolling through that, you're going to find a better deal. Now, if it is super high and very green, that means those seats, you're getting a great deal. Go ahead and get these. Enjoy your event. Me and Edward, we love the simplicity. We use it for all live sporting events that we attend to, and concerts as well. So, if you guys aren't sold just yet, for first-time users, use that code BELLYUPSPORTS at checkout. For first-time users, use the code BELLYUPSPORTS at checkout. Save $20 off your first purchase. So, make sure you guys take full advantage of that one. My player of the week is Eberechi Eze, who scored 2 goals in Arsenal's 4-1 victory against Tottenham. I enjoyed it thoroughly. So it was a great performance. Arsenal belt to ass with them. So, you know, gotta give some love to Eze. So yeah, Eze, my player of the week. Edwards' player of the week is Harry Kane, who scored 2 goals in Bayern Munich's 3-2 victory against Eintracht Frankfurt. So 2 solid performances from 2 Englishmen. So congratulations to Eberechi Eze and Harry Kane for being our players of the week. Once again, guys, use that code BELLYUPSPORTS at checkout at SeatGeek.com. Save $20 off your first purchase at SeatGeek. Life's an event. We have the tickets. All right, we're going to segue right into games to watch.
Fight and win!
All right, guys, games to watch this weekend. We got the Vancouver Whitecaps taking on Toronto FC in Major League Soccer. It's a Canadian rivalry, you know. You got the Vancouver Whitecaps and then Toronto FC, who made a lot of decisions with the rosters, and I think that they're hoping to be a competitive team this season, so we'll see what happens there. I believe they did lose to FC Dallas this past weekend, but we'll see. We got Toluca versus Chivas de Guadalajara. Chivas de Guadalajara looks really good right now. Toluca is obviously looking for a three-peat in the season, but we'll see what happens there in Liga MX. We also have Monterrey versus Cruz Azul, also 2 really good teams right now in Liga MX, so they're going up against each other. We also have Orlando City SC taking on Inter Miami. A little Florida rivalry action going on there. We'll see if Messi plays. Maybe he plays, maybe he doesn't. We'll see what happens there. We also got the Old Firm Derby, Rangers versus Celtic. We're gonna see. That's gonna be a juicy one. It is at 6 a.m. Central Time, so you know, brace yourself if you're gonna wake up to watch that game, especially in the U.S. And of course, the She Believes Cup is going on this weekend, so make sure you guys, if you guys want to check out like some of the best nations in women's football, they're gonna be all there. All right, in Ligue 1, we got Paris FC taking on Nice and Marseille versus Lyon. I think it's interesting to follow because I believe Roberto De Zerbi is no longer with Marseille, or at least is trying to get out of Marseille. I'm not entirely sure if he exited officially yet or not. This is probably my time to go ahead and look at that. Let's see if Roberto De Zerbi is still with Marseille. No, he left Marseille, so he did leave Marseille. So that's something to follow. And then obviously Lyon, who look pretty good right now. So we'll see what happens there. In the Bundesliga, we got Borussia Dortmund taking on Bayern Munich. El Clasico, always a good one. This is a very interesting version of El Clasico because I believe if Borussia Dortmund does beat Bayern Munich, that does help them with the battle for could potentially be an interesting race in the Bundesliga this season if they're able to get that win. So we'll see what happens there. And Eintracht Frankfurt taking on SC Freiburg. So some good matches there in the Bundesliga. In Serie A, we got Sassuolo taking on Atalanta. Atalanta coming off of a big win against Napoli. We'll see if they can continue on against Sassuolo, who I believe also got a big win this past weekend. And we got AS Roma taking on Juventus, who coming off of a really bad loss to Como, which I believe Juventus did get booed in that match. So we'll see how they respond against Roma, who look also really good right now. In La Liga, we got Barcelona taking on Villarreal. And the Sevilla derby, Real Betis taking on Sevilla. That should be always a good matchup, man. Go ahead and watch that. Make sure you watch it. It's a good game. In the Premier League, we got Newcastle taking on Everton. Two teams are kind of similar right now with their form. And Arsenal, who just beat the living dog breaks, straight belt to ass with Tottenham, as you can see. Wearing my Arsenal kit, as they're taking on Chelsea. So another London derby, back-to-back London derbies, actually pretty similar to the first half of the season. So back-to-back London derbies as they take on Chelsea, which they need to get some wins because Man City is definitely is coming up, man. So, but yeah, obviously that's not all the games that are being played this weekend. But if you guys need a good beginner's guide, I think we gave you guys some good matches to keep an eye on. So we're going to go take one last break and then wrap this show up in a pretty little bow for you.
Hey everyone, it's Ryan from No Credentials Required to talk to you about one of our newest partners at Belly Up Sports, SeatGeek. Yeah, live sports is great on television, but the feeling of being at the arena is a priceless experience. That's why our friends at SeatGeek are there to help you find the best tickets at the best prices. Not only can you get tickets to sporting events, we can also get tickets to concerts, comedy shows, musicals, and more. Search for your desired event now at SeatGeek.com, enter promo code BellyUpSports at checkout, and you save $20 off your first purchase. SeatGeek. Life's an event. We have the tickets.
All right, guys. So, like I said, that what we're going to start doing is we're going to shuffle. So you guys see that I have it. Shuffle the deck of cards. If you're watching the video version, obviously. But, or you can kind of hear it on the mic, I think. Maybe a little bit. But we're shuffling the deck. Deck, not the other word. Shuffling the deck till we get it, and then we're gonna pull whatever is the card on top. So it could be benefit of the doubt, because obviously, like, if you guys haven't checked out Give and Go to giveandgogames.com, by the way. There's also a potential drinking game. So Give and Go, the soccer card game. What this game is essentially is kind of just like a good like conversation game. Like I said, during the live stream for Goals TV for the opening day of MLS matches, which I believe will be having a watch party, a live watch along every week. So especially during like the prime time hours of the weekend. So there's always going to be some good discussions there, and we throughout the watch along, we were actually playing Give and Go. So we had some interesting conversations of just like our perspective on football. So some of these cards are like kind of like questions around football, just either nostalgia reasons or current things, or even just little fun things that you can do. So pull the first card, and it says, "What makes American soccer special?" What makes American soccer special? That is an interesting question to ask. That is surprisingly a very loaded question. And the reason why I say that is because the thing about American soccer is, at least for me, is I think that it's very niche, right? Like, soccer is not the most popular sport in the world, in the U.S. It is not the most popular sport. It's kind of looked almost like people look down upon it, even though there's so many people that I think in my mind that are so blindsided by soccer or football that they just can't understand why the rest of the world likes this game, why they love this game, why is this game so huge. And there's so many Americans that just, I don't really think that they take the time out the time of the day to give soccer its opportunity. When in reality, if you were to go to a major league, even going to a major league soccer game, I don't think is a bad experience. Most of the time I've gone to Dynamo games, I've enjoyed it, win or lose. I've always enjoyed my experience at the stadium. I always meet some really great people. To me, it's genuinely a great time. Like, I have nothing against going to MLS matches. And honestly, I've been to Chicago Fire games. I've been, well, not to Soldier Field. I went to they had this other stadium. I forgot what it was called, but I think it was like SeatGeek or something like that. I don't remember. But anyways, I went to that one. Had a great time over there. Recently last year went to go see FC Dallas with Jose. Great time. I think it's crazy where people just have this like this attack like that soccer's gonna come and take over the world, take over the U.S. or something like that, in which is just a game. And it's funny because I think the viewpoint of the game, I think for a lot of people is just that this is just like a spoiled rich kid sport. Yeah, I think that's what it is because obviously, the thing was, like, of all the sports that everyone plays, soccer is like probably like the first sport they play. They play like Little League soccer, and then obviously then they move on to playing whatever sport they're playing. But I think that like America, because once again, America is the melting pot, right? There's so many cultures that live in the U.S. that you can't really. It's interesting to see what exactly American culture is because of just how diverse the U.S. is. But when it comes to American soccer, I think it's just for me, what makes it special is kind of seeing that contrast of cultures. You know, you have the kids that have a lot of African influence. You know, you have the kids that grew up with Latin influence, you know. And then you do have like those genuine American kids as well. But, you know, and I think that you see the diversity, you embrace the culture. Like, for me, man, I love, when I worked at the Dynamo Academy, I love just hearing, like, all the kids just say, vamos, 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 Dynamo. Like, they say it. Like, I think it's awesome. Like, I think it's cool that, like, these guys embrace each other's cultures. Like, I think that's, like, the coolest thing ever. So I think for me, it's just, like, the collectiveness. Like, you know, when you live in America and you see another, you know, soccer, football supporter, like, you know, me going to bars to go watch like Real Madrid in the Champions League and like collectively celebrating with other Madristas, a lot of American Madristas. Real Madrid came to Houston and honestly was just one of the best experiences of my life, celebrating with other Madristas, to some of us even for the first time watching Real Madrid in person. So it's just like, it's like things like that, man. Like, it's just one of those, it's, you know, there's moments where you feel like it's just you. Like, you're just the only soccer fan in the U.S., which obviously I never had truly that feeling because I grew up in a Latin community. So, like, a lot of people played soccer. You know, we go to the park, people are playing soccer at the park. And, of course, me and I were growing up together. We were playing soccer. So, like, but, I mean, you know, like, when I was in the military, not a lot of guys like soccer. Not a lot of guys like soccer. And then when I did meet those guys that did play, and I think, honestly, the Marine Corps probably is like one of the best examples, at least for me, about what made being a soccer fan so great. An American soccer fan, being what it felt special about being an American soccer fan. Because I remember, look, I'm gonna play soccer. Like, so I remember I'll get out of my barracks room with my cleats and a ball, and I'll go down to like just a park, and I just, like, there was a park there that had goalposts. So I went there, I started kicking around, took a few shots. Next thing you know, some guys came along, and then other guys, and then now we're playing like a pickup game. And it was cool to see other people that played. And to me, that's what really mattered the most to me, was just like, it's a sense of community when you're amongst other soccer fans. You know, I remember me, Gabriel, and maybe Hayslip, I don't remember what was the other two guys. I know Gabriel for a fact. We, you know, cause Gabriel knew I was a Madrista. And so we went to go see Real Madrid win La Decima. We went to a bar. I remember just randomly going to a bar. He said that this bar was a good soccer bar. I don't know about that. But we went to go see Real Madrid versus Atletico Madrid, where Real Madrid won La Decima. And yeah, it was just great to be around other soccer fans. Like, it's great just watching and talking soccer. And so I think for like in a perfect world, it would be great to see like not having to make a big deal when you see another soccer supporter. But, it is cool. It's cool to see another guy that supports soccer. Like, I mean, one day I was at the gym, bumped into this really cool guy, man, and we just there talked there for a bit about soccer. Ended up finding out that me and this guy have like a lot of similar people. Like, let me see if I can find this guy, because he followed me. We follow each other on Instagram. Let me see if I can find him though. Probably not gonna find him. Anyways, the whole point, and we bonded over the game. Like, I think, like, I don't necessarily feel like that's. I have a customer that he's a Tigres fan, and we just talk about soccer. Me and him, we just talk about soccer. I'm not a Tigres fan, but we just talk. Like, and then he, it's just genuinely like, I think that's what the cool part. I mean, Jose, all the guys on Gold TV, man, like, it's one of those cool, Kelsey, it's cool when you spot another American that likes soccer. Like, it just really is. It's just like, oh, okay, cool. And you just talk for a bit, and then it's just refreshing. It is refreshing. I wish that it wasn't like that always. Like, I wish that I could just, I could talk about soccer and not someone say, oh, that sport's gay, or, oh, that sport's dumb. Like, the rest of the world is dumb for liking that sport. It's just, like, it's an opinion. At the end of the day, if you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. That's fine. But, yeah, that's a real loaded question. I think, being an American soccer fan, it has its challenges. I'll be honest with you, it does have its challenges, because it is a sport. It's a sport that obviously a lot of Americans don't genuinely respect, and then we're a subsection of fan that, like, I would argue that also the rest of the soccer world probably doesn't really, I think, are intrigued. They're intrigued when they see an American soccer supporter. Just because it's like, they just know that a lot of Americans don't genuinely like football. And so, yeah, I think it's an interesting life being an American soccer fan. I think it goes back to, like, the curiosity when people have it with American soccer fans, because of the fact that, like, why are you an American soccer fan? And, for most of us, it's culture based. This would be a great question for, like an American, and the reason why I say American, I kind of hate saying it like that, like a white American, like someone that's truly American. Like, I would say African Americans and like, obviously, the Caucasian Americans. Like those guys would be the ones that would be more intriguing to ask them if they were a soccer fan, because, like, I think for, like, people that are Latin or African, Asian descent, the ones that, came from communities that play soccer, and soccer is like the sport of their nation, it's different to ask them, because it all comes down to their upbringing, right? Like, my dad loved soccer. I would watch soccer with my dad. We would watch the World Cup together, and then my friends loved soccer. We played soccer. So, like, it was just kind of like our norm. To us, it was normal. It wasn't weird. So, like, for us, it was a cultural thing. Like, for a lot of people that are, once again, like, that have, like, cultures that come from cultures where soccer is the biggest sport, and which, like, once again, it's people that are originally, our families are recently from Africa. Like, here in Houston, there's a lot of Nigerians here, right? So soccer is very much the big sport here, sport for, like, people from Africa. Same thing for Latin, and the same thing for Asians. Like, soccer, which is a really big sport. And so I think that question would be so interesting to ask someone that, like I said, like an African American, obviously, a Black American is what I meant, or a white or a Caucasian American. Like, I think that those would be, like, the more interesting person to hear from, because, like, you don't have a cultural influence on the sport unless you grew up in, like, a Latin community, like, or if you grew up amongst other people that played soccer. So, like, those to me would be a lot of interesting. So that's just my opinion. Like, maybe that sounds a little racial when I say that, but and it's not really a racial thing. I'm just saying, like, people that are genuinely American. Like for instance, like, I eat a lot of Hispanic food. I eat a lot of frijoles. Like, and it was funny because we talked about this on the live stream. Like, I genuinely didn't do many American things. At least I thought I always consider myself American. Like, I don't get it twisted, but like I always thought it was interesting. When like the American stuff. So I didn't experience like American culture till I joined the Marine Corps. And that was like the first time I'm actually like eating traditional Thanksgiving meals, like having the turkey and the ham and the cranberry sauce and the stuffing. That was the first time I actually had like a traditional American Thanksgiving, because my family, we would eat like horneado, horneado or tamales. Like that would be my traditional Thanksgivings. Doing a tradition, celebrating Christmas on Americans, like on the American Christmas Day, because if you're Latino, you celebrate Christmas Eve was the 23rd and 24th would be Christmas. For Americans, it's actually the 24th is Christmas Eve and the 25th is Christmas. So it's even that, celebrating 4th of July with like hamburgers, not fajitas. Like those are things where like I was like, oh shoot, this is American culture. And so yeah, it's different, and I think it was kind of a great. I think for me it was good to go outside of my norms. I got to learn more about myself than anything else, and genuinely learn about like the American culture. So, and I thought it was great. Honestly, I think it's one thing that we need to be able to be more open with. Honestly, but yeah, no, that question right there, that would be a great one with someone that is more American than I am, and the only reason why I say more American than I am, even though like I do consider myself American, I serve this country because I am a proud American, but I'm still Salvadorian culture is still very much part of me. So that would be an interesting conversation with someone that is actually like American. So that would be pretty cool. But yeah, man, like dude, I'm telling you, Give and Go, the soccer card game, man. Go and try it out, man. This is really fun. It's a real good like conversation piece. Real good. I mean, this just alone was pretty interesting to talk about, man. So make sure you guys go ahead and check them out, man. Links will be in the description. All right, man. Shout out to Belly Up Sports. Check out their website, bellyupsports.com. Follow them on X and Instagram at Belly Up Sports, man. Always constantly their stuff dropping on social media, man. Be on the lookout for that, man. Also, shout out to Kev, man. He's doing a weekly recap series of all the things that are going on in the world of sports. At least American sports, I guess you could say, because he didn't do any MLS love. I'll be doing some videos from time to time for them as well, especially going into the World Cup. So I'll drop some MLS gems every once in a while as well. But yeah, be on the lookout, man. So we'll see what happens there. But yeah, check out bellyupsports.com. Lots of articles being written. Check them out, give them some love. Also, Goals TV, man. Check them out on X at goals_TV and on goals.tv. Also, follow them on YouTube. Subscribe to them on YouTube on Goals TV as well. Live streams every week for every MLS match day. Obviously, weekly episodes of Wake Up MLS. You'll see me there from time to time as well. So make sure you guys go ahead and check it out, man. And of course, if you guys were listening to audio versions of this podcast, man, the intro and outro are done by no other than Roosevelt Spencer. He is our beat maker extraordinaire, and we love him dearly, so much that he is the namesake of the Roosevelt Spencer's Player of the Year award. So we love Spencer. You should too. If you guys need some beat work done, follow him on Instagram at thatguydope. Once again, on Instagram at thatguydope, and he will take great care of you like he always does with us. With all that being said, man, thank you so much for listening. Catch us next week. We all love you. Hopefully one day we can have a day where race isn't going to be a conversation. But till then, love is love. Love will always prevail over hate. That's all I got to say, man. Thank you so much for listening. Catch us next week. Take care, guys.